And now, the top five.
In lieu of the dunk contest, we're doing the top 5 dunks that we can remember. Some of these are in game, at least for me. Some of them are from the dunk contest. I have 5 iconic dunks, and I want to hear your number 5 first.
I have a tie at number 5.
Okay.
First of all, I've got the famous MJ on Ewing dunk. And the reason is, he drives down the baseline. He hesitates. He thinks about it for a second, fakes going back onto the perimeter, and then just goes straight back and says, "You know what? I am dunking on Patrick Ewing." And he just goes and he does it. And that fearlessness is, MJ personified in one dunk.
Almost as if, you know what? I'm going to choose to dunk on you, in fact. And poor Charles Oakley, because he schools Oakley as bad as he does Ewing in that very same
yeah, that hesitation is sick.
It's top one.
Disgustingly good. And the other one I have is, I couldn't leave him out, LeBron James. The in-game dunk, I think it was 2007. I'm not sure if you remember, in that famous Pistons-Cavs series, where he just I think it was during the series, he just drives through the lane and just sticks a hammer on Rasheed Wallace. Quite frankly, Rasheed Wallace fouling him in the process. But he just stretches over him and completely posterizes him.
I had Jordan on Ewing as my number 3 dunk. My number 5, you'd have to go back to the dunk contest, I believe 1997. And the first time we ever saw a man dunk a basketball between his legs, Kobe Bryant. And, now if a guy did that, that'd be a pretty standard dunk. But at the time, that was revolutionary. And frankly, I looked at the clip today. It still is so smooth, so fluid. When Kobe Bryant did that, remember, as a rookie, Kobe Bryant was not lighting the world on fire. Averaged about 7 points a game.
That dunk put him on the NBA map.
That put Kobe on the map, and so for me, it's my number 5. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Kobe Bryant, conveniently.
Oh, there you go.
But it's not that dunk. It's one of his in-game dunks. I think it early 2000s. Still had a spring in his step. Very athletic. Just dunking over Yao Ming. Yao Ming, I think, was a rookie at the time, or a second-year player, and Kobe introduced him to the NBA.
He was 7'6", regardless of how old he was.
7'6", and you just go over and he saw the opening and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. Kind of like MJ, but over a 7'6" presence.
My number 4 dunk was Vince Carter in the 2000 dunk contest, the honey dip, the elbow hang.
Oh, yeah.
Skying high, not only flushing it through, but sending his elbow in for good measure. Do you have any idea how high you have to get to make that happen? And, I mean, I saw that, and I still watch it in amazement. I think Vince Carter put on one of the greatest performances at a dunk contest at all time in 2000. And so that's my number 4.
You know what? I have that a lot higher, and I couldn't even distinguish between his dunks in that contest. The whole ensemble, to me, I think it was 4. He dunked 4 times in the contest.
Yeah. Every
single one, I think he attempted. He converted first time.
Mm-hmm.
And just the style with which he accomplished it was just amazing. The style, the flair, everything about it, the moxie that he did it with, everything was just amazing. So for me, I think, I'll get to it. I'll get to it a little later, but I have it a little higher on my list.
That is going to be the most. I mean, that's Vince Carter's positive legacy on the game. People will talk about him quitting on Toronto and not ever being maybe the number 1 guy he could have been. Never really won the championship he was looking for, but man, you'll never be able to forget that dunk contest, and that's like a real big-time legacy for Vince Carter. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Jason Richardson. In 2004, he did not win it, but he won it in 02 and 03, and then he didn't win it in 04, and he definitely should have won it in 04 again, because this was, I think, his most impressive dunk. Off the glass, between the legs.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
And that is astoundingly difficult. And and he didn't win. Fred Jones won it that year.
Star power, baby. Star power. Freddie Jones.
Unbelievable. Where's Fred Jones now?
I don't know. Selling cars? Selling cars?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Coach in junior high. My number 3 was Jordan on Ewing, and we already talked about that. So let's get to your number 2 dunk.
My number 2 isn't so much of a dunk as it is a throwdown. Blake Griffin on Kendrick Perkins last season.
He threw it down.
Oh, he threw it down. And my hatred of Kendrick Perkins, that probably had something to do with it too. He really stuck it to him.
My number 2 dunk was Vince Carter again, but this time on Frederick Weiss. And no one knows who Frederick Weiss is other than the 7'2" Frenchman who was dunked over. And when we say over, we mean over. Vince Carter not only dunked on him, but followed through and landed on his feet on the other side. It is one of the most ridiculous dunks of all time.
I mean, you associate those types of dunks with the dunk competition. You would never think that you would see that in a game, and it's absolutely amazing. My number 1 is just Vince Carter. That's how I have it. It's the ensemble of Vince Carter dunks. It's the over Vice dunk in the Olympics in 2000. It's his 2000 slam dunk competition. Let's just call it Vince Carter year 2000. That's my number 1.
I think people are going to be able to tell how old we are because you always have a nostalgia towards things when you were growing up. And, man, we just grew up with Carter slamming it home, and it's really hard to forget, you know?
And people forget that, the dunk contest had it was like a 2-year hiatus where it didn't happen. And then all of a sudden Carter brought it back, and those 2 years without it were actually pretty valuable because people kind of missed it. And then when Vince Carter thought of new ideas and got creative after 2 years, it was just amazing for the NBA.
My number 1 dunk is the only reason why we have dunk showmanship, and that was Dr. Julius Erving, who was the first player ever to dunk from the foul line. And this was something that he did in a dunk contest after wowing people for 10 years of undocumented ABA dunkorama. Dunks that are never captured, but people to this day who would watch them will rave about, because Dr. J was the first true showman on the basketball court, and he really ushered in the new sort of generation of guys who really embrace that part of the game. And, some I think have gone a little too far with it, but others have really made it a really exciting product. And, Dr. J basically was the main reason why the dunk contest became what it is. And the ABA had the dunk contest before the NBA did. And if Dr. J hadn't done that, I don't think we'd be having the sort of the dunks we have today.
Yeah. Dr. J brought the showmanship, the athleticism. My favorite Dr. J dunk that really deserves a mention, and quite frankly, I'm now questioning why I don't have it in my top 5. But but it's the one on Michael Cooper when he's on the break, Sixers Lakers. He just clutches it, brings it all the way, cocks it all the way back behind his head, and just brings it down on Cooper. Fantastic dunk.
So next week we're going to start to see the teams that start to tank and the teams that start to go for the top. And I think the LA Lakers are an interesting topic because they're going to be right in between as to what they want to
do. This is the home stretch. This is make it or break it time. Picked up an emotional win over the Celtics on Tuesday. Important win, obviously, but I think it was fueled more by the crowd's raw emotion and Kobe's determination. Dwight Howard had a good game,
Yeah.
Good sign for that. Kobe and Dwight need to mesh if this is to work. So I look forward to talking to you next week, hopefully with a bigger smile on my face in regards to my Lakers playoff chances.
So 10 weeks, and I think until the end of the regular season, then it's playoff time. So Hugo Fulco, have a good one, partner. We'll do it again next week.
Definitely. See you, man.